Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for joining us today. This is a very special day for both the Senate Republican and the House Republican caucuses. Last week was, in our minds, quite historical whenever it comes to our ability to finally move in a meaningful way to unleash the promise of Pennsylvania. And when we talk about unleashing the promise of Pennsylvania, we talk about it in the context of using the God-given natural resources that we have beneath our feet to responsibly move our economy forward. And I can tell you that for 6 long years, the House Republican and Senate Republican caucuses have been quite united not just on us exiting the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, but also on enacting meaningful and comprehensive permitting reform to help get shovels in the ground so our economy can move again. And so we're here today to talk a little bit about that and the meaningful impacts that we believe that we achieved for the future of this Commonwealth. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to our fearless leader, the President Pro Tem of the Senate, Kim Ward.
Hi, everybody. This was such an historic happening this year in this budget. Every single person standing behind me here was part of helping to make that happen because it was a constant drumbeat of how the Regional Green Gas House Initiative and permitting reform were causing us to lose jobs, lose businesses that would look to come here. We think we are opening up a great big invitation to, if you left, come back. And if you're here, build on. Without these resources, we have these resources, and without using them, we're losing business, which means we're losing jobs, which means we're losing tax base. When you look at the budget and you look at the budget number, I think we did great. And I want to call out Senator Yaw, who is here and who's run the Environmental Resource Committee in the Senate and has been yelling about this for a long time. He yells in a very low voice, but he does carry on. It never stops. There he is. And without Senator Pittman's leadership and the constant talking about this initiative in the budget, I don't know that we get there. So thank you, Joe, for your really great leadership on this. And with that, I will turn this over to our Republican colleague, the Republican leader, Jesse Topper.
Thank you so much, Senator. Certainty and stability. If you talk to anyone in and around the energy industry, that is what they consistently say that they need in order to fully realize the potential that's here in Pennsylvania. And with the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative hanging over this Commonwealth like a dark cloud, we had neither. We had neither certainty or stability. And I truly believe that because of our regulatory climate here in Pennsylvania, we were continuing to lose energy development and the family-sustaining jobs that go with it to our neighboring states in Ohio and West Virginia. And today, we can honestly say we are bringing those jobs and that energy development back here to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. The certainty and stability that will come with some of the policies surrounding this budget can drive economic growth. And as Republicans, we don't believe that government creates economic growth. The private sector does. But what government can do and what government must do is remove the impediments to that economic growth and what the private sector can do. And we took huge steps forward in doing that. And I'm so thankful for my colleagues, Senators Pittman and Ward, and all of the Republican caucus in the House. We were here talking about these issues back in February. People talked about the budget and the governor's budget number and all the spending and what he wants to do. And we consistently said, until we see economic growth and until we get policy that promotes economic growth through our private sector in Pennsylvania, none of those numbers will ever add up. And so we said that from the beginning. We stuck with it. And I think that is why you have the product in front of you and so many to thank, including everyone in the House and Senate behind me. Thank you very much.
And I will tell you that we all owe Leader Topper a debt of gratitude for stepping forward and being part of the solution in getting us through this budget, but more importantly, the policy wins that we all achieved. You know, when we started to push back against Governor Wolf's unilateral efforts to unconstitutionally enjoin us into the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, we found some very strong allies right out of the gate. And those allies were in the private sector trade unions. And they have stood with us time and time again, pushing back against the detriments of what RGGI would mean. And I am very proud to have someone here today who's a constituent of mine and Representative Struzzi's, who represents the Boilermakers, Union 154. And I can tell you nobody brings more passion to this issue than Sean Steffi. And it's finally time that his members are no longer packing suitcases to go to work, they're packing lunch boxes again. And that's what this is all about.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and I would just like to take this moment and express my thanks to all the Senate and representatives in the Republican Party here, because their unwavering stance against this 6-year battle was never faltered, just like it never faltered for me. And anybody that understands more than this is, you know, my hometown senator and Representative Struzzi, where we come from. It's energy driven. My hometown has seen closures and losses, and we have coal fires and gas plants in their districts, and it was a nail not only in the Boilermakers' coffin when RGGI came into play, it was a nail on these two legislators' districts in my hometown. With that being said, it's time to move forward. It's time to unleash our energy dominance that we can perform here in Pennsylvania. We have the skilled workforce, the blue-collar skilled workforce, and the building trades labor to make this possible. And it first has to start with a resilient grid, and a grid that can be reliable and lower our electricity prices for Pennsylvania and throughout the country. And that's something I know that Senator Yaw has been an advocate about, is grid resiliency. Secondly, the AI and advanced manufacturing future is on the cusp, and we're better to do it right here in Pennsylvania, okay? We have a proven, skilled workforce in the building trades and the Boilermakers to make this happen. But what we also need is we're going to need bipartisan support to push this forward to build out Pennsylvania. We need a green light shown that we're ready to unleash this potential. That, you know, I can tell you the Boilermakers and my business manager, Mike Stanton, we're ready to go out and promote and bring in new young men and women, not offering them a job, but a career in the building trades, just like the rest of our building trades. But we need this green light to make it happen. We got to show that we're ready to build. We have brownfield sites that are low-hanging fruit, if you ask me, to build this at. And it's going to take all of us combined to make this happen. I just would like, again, to express my thanks to Senator Pittman, Senator Ward, Senator Yaw. I worked really close with them during this 6 years. It's not been a battle, it's been a war. The war's over, it's time to rebuild, and rebuild right here in Pennsylvania, build it out with our skilled workforce, promote our youth in our high schools and VOTEX in a career path with the building trades that provides family-sustaining blue-collar jobs, a pension, and annuity, and keeping our youth right here in PA and building it out. Thank you, everybody.
If anybody didn't believe Sean Steffi brings energy to the House, you now know he does. Next, we're going to hear from the job creator side of the equation. Another person that's been in the trenches for a long time, not just on RGGI, but also permitting reform. Eager to bring to the podium now Mr. Patrick Henderson, who's the head of the Marcellus Shale Coalition. Pat?
Thank you very much, Senator. I'm very pleased to participate in today's event. I had just one request, and it's don't let me have to go after Sean. Sean, we appreciate all that you and your members and the trades have done to get us to where we are today. I want to start by thanking the legislators behind us and all assembled who helped to lead this successful fight. Pennsylvanians deserve to know who has their back, and for the last 6 years, you have all had their backs, and for that we thank you. We have heard some refer to RGGI as an excuse for not advancing energy policy in the legislature. The reality is that RGGI is an impediment, not an excuse. It cost Pennsylvanians thousands of jobs and billions of dollars of investment. It threatened to raise consumers' energy prices while delivering no meaningful reduction in carbon emissions. RGGI was simply an express lane to drive private investment to build new power plants in other states. That ends today. It is not a coincidence that Pennsylvania built 17 new or converted natural gas power plants worth over $14 billion of private capital investment to the state between 2012 and 2019. But we've seen virtually nothing built since RGGI was first proposed. It is time to say the quiet part out loud. RGGI was never about reducing carbon emissions. How could it be? DEP's own modeling showed that RGGI would result in less than 1/5 of 1% of a reduction in carbon. By comparison, market forces have helped Pennsylvania's power generation sector reduce emissions by 46% since 2005. This is the equivalent of removing 12.5 million cars off our roadways. No, RGGI was always about the money. This year alone, RGGI would have cost Pennsylvania consumers $1.6 billion, not for the electricity, just for the tax on the electricity. But thanks to the great work of those assembled here and behind me, Pennsylvania consumers are now going to save that $1.6 billion. While we should also celebrate at any time the repeal of bad policy, it's also nice to go on the offensive for once. And this year's budget resolution does just that. The adoption of historic and meaningful permitting reform sends a powerful message that Pennsylvania is reopening for business. No longer will key permits sit languishing on someone's desk or in their inbox because government failed to work at the speed of business. The reality is businesses work 24/7. They don't stop on weekends or holidays or after 4 p.m. And the permit approvals they need shouldn't either. The reforms enacted this year, the first ever deemed approved permits for air and water quality, and the expansion of the successful SPEED program would not have happened but for years of persistence and advocacy from the business community and all those assembled here. For that, I sincerely say thank you to each of you.
Next, we're going to hear from another champion over the last several years. He represents the IBEW 459, and those are the women and men that work in the powerhouses, particularly in the district that I represent. There's nobody that understands the nuances of the grid and what it takes to make our lights stay on than Eric Baker. Eric is a resident of Armstrong County, a constituent of mine, and I believe Representative Bashline's. It's an honor to call him a friend as well, a real partner in this process. Now we're going to have a few words here from Eric Baker. Eric?
Joe. As Joe said, I'm president of Local 459. We represent a whole diverse amount of members. We're power linemen, power generation, telecommunications, manufacturing, municipal workers all across the state. I was just humming along doing my work when October 3rd, 2019, when Governor Wolf decided to thrust us into this debacle of a program, I'll call it. A few days later, we were in Senator Pittman's office, just a handful of us, and I started down this political avenue. Moving forward, Senator Pittman at first was really questioning, and I really got to learn what a workhorse he is, because he went from having knowledge of the power plants to being an expert and being our guy to argue on the floor to anybody. It was impressive, to say the least. I've told many people about the level of dedication that he put out there to put this argument forward. make no mistake about it, energy security is a working class issue. It provides good jobs, but it also provides the security for our nation and powers our Commonwealth. You know, in meeting with other politicians through the years, some bought into it, some understood, but some were just too clouded to see the reality of what path we were leading. Thankfully, Senator Pittman never wavered, was our workhorse, pushed and pushed and pushed. I recently got to know Senator Yaw, and you know, all along it's just been impressive to see how these people grabbed a hold of it and took it seriously, while others were just fluffing it off. As president, you know, I've met with policy makers on every level of government and tried to explain Reggie to them. And some just don't get it. It's like, until we have a dark day in the state where people are dying because they don't have electricity, it's like we needed that reality. Thankfully, our legislators stepped up and promoted this reality. So once again, I would like to truly thank Senator Pittman. I gained a friend out of it. I can't say enough about the work that he put in to educate himself on this issue in our state. As he said, I represent all the workers that run the last 2 coal plants in Pennsylvania. Proud workers. It's, you know, they, thanks. I always like to say as a joke, these men and women are the ones there when it's below freezing and everybody else is at home watching their reality TV shows. These guys are out there. It might be Christmas night, it might be Thanksgiving, and to have the government come at us with what I called a assassination of blue-collar jobs was just wrong. It was just wrong. And I got to say, the surreal feeling I had when I found out we were going this direction. Well, first of all, I'll take it back. A couple weeks ago when I heard Senator Yaw was putting the bill up for abrogation of Reggie, I thought, wow, that's great. And then I said, what the hell's that abrogation mean? I didn't even know what it meant. I assumed coming from Senator Yaw that it was a good thing, but like, I don't even know what it meant. So I looked it up and I was like, yeah, this is a good thing. Pushed it right through the Senate, and then when the culmination came in the last week, I honestly, outside of my family, I had a feeling like I've never had before. I've put so much work and passion into this, working alongside you all, that it put me in an awesome state of euphoria. So once again, I appreciate your leadership, Senator Ward, Joe Pittman, appreciate it. Senator Yaw. Thank you all, and let's move forward, because the chains are off Pennsylvania right now. There's nothing holding us back.
Thank you, Eric. You're a good man, and your members are quite well served by your leadership. Lastly, we're going to hear from Jim Enders, who's the business manager of UA Local 520, plumbers and pipe fitters in central Pennsylvania. Jim?
Thank you, Senator Pittman. Senator Ward, thank you for the invitation. I'm excited to be here today to discuss Pennsylvania's exit from Reggie. This decision prioritizes the best interests of working families across the Commonwealth. It protects good-paying union jobs, ensuring Pennsylvania's energy economy remains strong, reliable, and competitive. Reggie created significant uncertainty for our energy infrastructure, especially natural gas, and as you heard from the previous speaker, coal-fired power plants, which led the plant owners to hesitate on investments, delay upgrades, postpone maintenance, and shelve new projects. For the building trades, this resulted in fewer employment opportunities for our members. By stepping away from Reggie, we can initiate genuine permitting reform, provide energy developers with the confidence to invest in projects right here in Pennsylvania. This will translate to more jobs for all construction workers and increased opportunities for new apprentices. For building trades workers, exiting RGGI means three basic things. Number one, stability. Our power plants and the thousands of jobs tied to them are less likely to face sudden closures or downsizing. That stability matters not only for those who directly work in the plants, but for every craft professional who relies on capital and maintenance projects to put food on their tables. Number two, opportunity. Pennsylvania has an enormous potential in natural gas, hydrogen, carbon capture, grid modernization, and other next-generation energy projects. These are all major multi-year construction efforts that require exactly the kind of expertise that the building trades brings to the table. Exiting RGGI removes a black cloud of regulatory uncertainty, giving energy developers more confidence to move forward with those investments, right here in our state with our workers. Number three, fair transition. We all care about cleaner energy production. A transition to cleaner energy can't just be environmentally responsible, it must be economically accountable. Exiting RGGI gives the state the chance to shape its own path forward, one that includes environmental goals. Pennsylvania's building and construction trades are prepared to adapt to new technologies and energy systems. We keep this Commonwealth running every day. We built Pennsylvania's infrastructure, and we're going to continue to maintain it and improve it. All we ask is for a level playing field, a predictable work environment, and a meaningful voice in the decision-making process. Thank you.
Senator Dush just pointed out to me that there are some students from Clinton County, from Renovo here today, and I think that's very appropriate because one of the might have beens was a natural gas plant in Clinton County in Renovo. And unfortunately, for a few reasons, that project didn't occur. But at the end of the day, it's our young people that this is all about. We all know the demographic crisis that we're facing in this Commonwealth. We have to reverse course. As Leader Topper often says, our budgets don't matter if we don't change the fundamentals of our economy and our demographics. And so this truly is about giving our young people an opportunity to stay here, young people to come here and raise their families. And we, at the end of the day, want the people of Pennsylvania to know that this Commonwealth, because of the actions that we led on, is now open for business more than ever before. And we're quite proud of that. So thank you all for being here. We would be happy to stick around for a couple questions. I think the members may want to be able to depart. They have several meetings, but we can stay back and answer a couple questions after folks who need to exit. Thank you all very much.